£12,000 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money when it compares to you, because you are priceless. Are you willing to go to the bottom, rock bottom, and rebuild yourself to the top? Are you willing to do that? As crazy as I am, I absolutely was. From the outside, I looked extremely happy, but internally I was so exhausted. Often when we talk about investment, we immediately think investment for business or investment for a startup, something that has monetary value that you can make profit of at some point. Investors, okay, what is an investor? Someone who has a bit of cash that sees your idea or the opportunity and is like, you know what, I think if I put this into something, I can get this back. Remember, an investment is also a risk, because what if you don't get that back? And we will talk about that later. But when you think about it, an investment into yourself is something that you most likely will never regret. And so I want to share with you how spending £12,000 for me was an investment that honestly made me end up £10,000 less in terms of money. £12,000 sterling, that is, less. However, on the long term, that investment into me is something absolutely worthwhile. So welcome. My name's Chanel Boating, and I had weight loss surgery in 2021. I went from a UK size 28 to now a size 12. I would say I ranged between 24 to 28, depending on the brand, depending on the fabric. If it's stretchy, you can say, yeah, I'm a size 24, I'm a little bit smaller. Or, basically I was quite a heavy set woman. I'm also 5'3" for reference, if you guys didn't know that. So I'm a little mini. And also I was weighing 170 pounds, if you want to do that metric, or 24 stones. Okay. I am now half of that. So I'm 12, UK size 12 now. I can even get into a size 10 in most things. And I think that's because my frame is quite petite. And then I also weigh 12 stones now. And I've been able to maintain that for about 4 years, which is the amount of time that I've actually done the surgery, 3 to 4 years. It changed my life, and it's the best investment to me. But before we get into being able to go on any type of weight loss transformational journey of some sort, I want to just kind of bring you into what my world was like before I actually had the surgery, and why the investment was worthwhile for me, how I prepped towards this investment, because it's not just about the savings, there's all these other things that you need to prepare yourself towards. And then of course, what that's done for me now and how I'm accomplished, or even maybe not. We'll talk about it in a moment. So what was life before surgery? I had the bariatric gastric bypass surgery. This was done privately. I wanted to do it on an NHS, so I did have a consultation with my GP because it was getting to the point where my weight was becoming a concern, actually. Backaches, headaches, sleep apnea, and just overall, I feel that my health was being affected. And ironically, as many people may know me on the internet, I have been a plus size woman my whole life, okay? And I've been able to build an entire brand from being a body confidence or plus size, specifically more plus size style and fashion as opposed to the body confidence thing. In my opinion, someone may think, no, Chanel, you are my body confidence queen. Flattered. But for me, I just was like, do you know what? I love to look good. I love to style. I love to look nice in fashion. So, I'm going to put myself out there as a plus size confidence creator. And it worked. I feel that a lot of people really gravitated towards me because of that. However, what you didn't see behind the scenes was what it really was. Okay. It doesn't take away from the fact that I was confident, but no one saw the emotional stress and the emotional struggles that I actually was dealing with whilst coping with my weight or even getting larger and larger. I was married as well. Of course, we know this. My partner was very happy for me to be that size. He found me as a plus size woman, absolutely. I got my heaviest during the marriage, and towards, I guess, the end of the marriage, this is where I had weight loss surgery. And if I'm being honest, it completely changed our dynamic as a couple, and it affected a lot. Please read up on my Substack because I kind of elaborate a bit more on that subject matter there. But despite all of that, how was I as a confident woman? I look at my photographs, for example, and I'm like, wow, I was a big and beautiful woman. And I still believe that big women can truly find the beauty within themselves regardless. And I am still advocating for plus size women to still love themselves. I, however, got to a point where I was like, I love myself enough to take control of my weight, to take control over my health, to take control over me, because I felt that the extra weight was truly weighing me down in every area of my life. Despite the fact that my partner or my ex-partner was advocating for me to stay larger, like he loved a voluptuous woman. And so I stayed there knowing that he took me as I am. But in the flip side, knowing as well that that feeling in myself internally was really affecting me, my emotions, and just being able to carry the extra weight in general and how it affected my health. I was absolutely sick and tired of the constant dieting. And I know some of you guys will know that even if you're not a plus size woman, it's this constant thing where it's about weight maintenance. You know, I don't believe that's how life is meant to be. I really do feel that we should feel comfortable in our skin. Okay, even if you're a big girl, the fact that you are a big girl but you're fighting against it because you know it doesn't make you feel comfortable says a lot. And so what do? In result of that, you try to resolve it. And in terms of resolving it, what do? You constantly go on diets. I've had various different diets. I went on a Cambridge diet. That worked. Before I met my ex-husband, I went on the Cambridge diet. And I was a size 16 to 18, okay, when I met him. I was bigger before. I was a size 22. That was my heaviest at the time after I had my first child. And I worked my way down to a 16 to 18 and met my partner. And let's just say the rest of it, I mean, there's been various different types of diets I've been going on. But the solution for this was for me to say, do you know what? I need a permanent solution that's really going to take me there, and something that, if anything, I can maintain. Now, this is a big one. And I wouldn't say it necessarily applies to me because I had built so much confidence as a big woman, okay? I had built up all this strength at this point. I was like, I'm thriving. And I was absolutely thriving as a plus size woman. And so part of it was creating content, putting myself out there, taking photographs, and obviously video content. I look back at my content as a plus size girl, and honestly, I was a hot girl, okay? Even seeing my stomach, as large as it was, still is, honey, okay? I've had not one pregnancy, but then a twin pregnancy that failed. And then my son, who's now 8 years old, and he's literally this height. AJ was a long baby. And so, I still have the big belly, okay? But we love our tummy. But when I look back at those photos, I actually put it on my Instagram yesterday. I was so proud to put those pictures up. I don't look at it and feel like, ew, she was so disgusting. I looked beautiful as a plus size woman. I really did carry myself with confidence and grace. And honestly, as a result of it, I'm able to look back at my photos and celebrate that. There are some plus size women out there who looks at their content right now and they're like, oh my God, I absolutely cannot look myself in the mirror. I cannot take a photograph. You see, when you have that feeling, okay, that you cannot even be confident enough to look in the mirror and feel proud of what you're looking back at, or look back at a photograph of yourself, then maybe there is some time to change. And that's okay. Despite your advocacy to staying in body positivity and all of that, if looking back at your content or your pictures or yourself is going to cause you a disgust, then honestly, I think that's something to question, isn't it? I think now we need to address what the issue is and how we are going to fix that. It's either you work on your self-esteem or you work on an investment to change in that for the greater good. And then, of course, there are the health concerns. I may have mentioned previously before, I've had sleep apnea. I remember choking in the middle of the night one time. That was very scary. Backaches from just standing in my kitchen and cooking, okay? And also just struggling to breathe, struggling to get up. Like I had to use all force and everything to get up. And then also headaches and migraines. That was a thing I seriously suffered with. And all of these health concerns that had bothered me in that current state, but then thinking of the long term and what I could do to prevent certain health issues such as, I don't know, high blood pressure maybe, or, diabetes, all of these, health problems that come alongside being a big person. Like, this is the reality. Why not reduce the risk of that? And also as well, missing out on the experiences. I remember not traveling for many, many years because I had anxiety of being on a train, of going on a plane, and knowing how big I had gotten, had I had to ask for a seat extender. Man, I haven't even booked the flight or boarded the plane yet. The fact that I'm thinking ahead, I'm thinking that, I'm not going to go. Why? Because I know I have to ask for a seat extender or a belt extender, and it's going to be embarrassing. Those things, missing out on experiences of going to certain places, and in fact, also missing out on experiences because you might not get invited because you don't look the part, which is the most deadest excuse out there. But it's happened. It happens. People don't want to invite the ugly girl or the fat girl. That is disgusting truth. But that is a fact. That is what other people are thinking of you. Not like we care what they're thinking. From the outside, I looked extremely happy. But internally, I was so exhausted. I don't think that it was a bad thing for me to present to the world that I was happy, because I just feel that it was very draining to live completely in, turmoil and just anger or some type of, a lack of confidence because I wasn't the person I was just yet, or who I was meant to be just yet. I had to find some type of happiness, and I'm glad I did at the time. And I always still encourage plus size women to be as happy and as confident as they can be, with the goal in mind of working towards the actual outcome of weight loss, if that is what you want for yourself. And you know what? It got to the point where I'm tired of, starting a new diet every Monday, or, having to lose weight before going on a particular trip or holiday or venture, or to, an event, or be invited to go to a party. And now, I have to now lose this weight. That became exhausting. I had a family member, a relative who had done the weight loss surgery and had maintained it pretty well for over 10 years. So they were my biggest mentor. And I was very inspired by them. I knew when I got it together, I would do this for myself. And so I done a lot of research. I looked at the bypass and the sleeve. I think those were the main options that were I guess, before me. I chose the bypass because the bypass is a lot more invasive. I'm sure there's a lot of content out there that will give you, the difference between the bypass and the sleeve. The sleeve is, it does work. It does work wonders. I've seen many women who have done it and have kept it off. But the bypass is like, there's absolutely, and the sleeve as well, there's no going back from that. But the bypass is, it does something, I can't remember the science behind it for the life of me, you guys. But it's a lot more invasive than the actual sleeve itself. And so therefore you get better and much long-term results, okay? It's not for everyone. There is a lot more kind of healing to do post the surgery compared to sleeve, for example. And the process, again, you actually lose weight a little bit quicker, but then it feels like it's stretched out a lot more as well. Conversations with your family or your loved ones is very important as well, okay? And honestly, you might get your aunt or, you know, a sister a bit concerned, like, oh my God, can't you just go to the gym? Or, you know, can't you just do it this way or do the Manjaro or whatever? It's a lot more. People are perhaps going to have with a few questions. People may be doubtful, and you've got to be ready for that as well. I think at the end of the day, when you prepare yourself for these things, your mind, okay, so in terms of psychologically, because this affects you long term, psychologically, you need to do that initial prep work too. Have to push past the fear if that's something that you potentially have, or if someone else is fearing for you. But again, I think intuition is very important here as well. And as a spiritual person, that's something that I had to hold on to in terms of knowing whether this was good or right for me, or the right method, or how I'm going to cope with it overall. I had to push past that boundary of fear too. And then, of course, the financial sacrifice. And you know what? When you think about it, £12,000 is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money when it compares to you, because you are priceless. Compare it to you, your health, your long-term life, happiness and confidence, and everything that you're potentially going to get from spending and investing this amount of money into your weight loss surgery. You might be thinking, could I invest that 12,000 into a new house or a new business, or, you know, a new car or a holiday? I mean, the possibilities are all there. But let me tell you something that what £12,000 really did for me. Apart from, of course, it's a chunk of cash to put towards as an investment for myself. Honestly, on the long term, it changed everything for me to the fact that I had to start again. If that is going to be the case for you, are you willing to go to the bottom, rock bottom, and rebuild yourself to the top? Are you willing to do that? As crazy as I am, I absolutely was. I didn't realize it would go in the fashion that it did. Oh no. And honestly, again, as a spiritual woman, I understand the spiritual context behind that and why it got to that. My ex-partner said to me, you do realize that when you lose this weight, it's going to affect your brand opportunities. He prophesied that. I'm not going to lie. And I said, well, I will rather have to kiss goodbye to those things and then think of my health and the fact that my children get to experience the best out of me and, you know, feel a lot lighter and smaller and just, you know, gracefully step into the person I'm really meant to be. For me, I would rather kiss goodbye to those opportunities if that's the case. There's always going to be a way for me to rebuild. I've still got my mind. As long as I'm able to tune into the correct mindset, I'm absolutely able to achieve anything I want. It might take some time. I might have to lose everything. And in fact, it cost my marriage literally, because I explained previously he wanted me to be a big person. So there wasn't actually much support in terms of his agreement to having the surgery. But at some point, he had to understand that I would never be the best person I needed to be in this life until I had that surgery, which is what I did. So it costs a lot. Are you willing to let go of a few things that mean a lot to you in order to achieve the life you want for yourself from having this weight loss surgery? My girls, think about it. Think about it, because honestly, it cost me a lot. But it's not comparable to where I'm at right now, because I'm so much in my power and grace and I'm operating exactly as she's meant to be. There's also some realities that we don't talk about often, and I feel that that is something that we would put into another video. But just think about the recovery, okay, and what I previously mentioned. a part of, you know, what it may cost you in terms of relationships and just, you know, even job or business opportunities, like myself, who was, you know, counting on my plus sizeness to build a career, you know, and literally make bread. I had to say, oh, well, that's got to go because I have got somewhere to go. Also, loose skin, having to not be able to eat how you used to eat, honey, that is all reduced. But that is, I mean, depending on your mindset, that's actually not the hardest thing, honestly. Once you kind of get used to this new self, you would train yourself automatically to eating properly and healthily. And it's something that you don't miss out on anything. I eat everything, honey. I eat everything, believe me. And again, I feel like that's a video for another day. So is it worth it? From my personal account, yes, it is. And honestly, for many women who has done weight loss surgery, or even if it's not just surgery, but perhaps people who are on weight loss meds, or, you know, the pills that they've got going now, the Ozempics and all of that, for them it may be very worth it according to how it's worked for them. Now, one thing I want to ask or say to you guys, or advise to anybody who's thinking of going on any weight loss journey, is do not do it because you saw someone else. Even me, oh, it's worked for Chanel, so it'll work for me. Our life is completely different. And also, again, this is about finding what's right for you, because the surgery may not be something that you could work with. However, another weight loss method could be the thing. In fact, you might just be so resilient enough to do it the traditional way of eating less and exercising more. That is something that is awarded to mankind, okay, that we can all do. And honestly, part of the recovery or the maintenance is I still have to eat less and I still have to exercise more. I go to the gym every day. I went this morning. I went yesterday morning. It's now really a part of my lifestyle, but it took a while to get there. And there's periods where I'm like, I'm not going to the gym for 2 weeks as well. Like, honestly, not much changes unless you're willing to still put in the hard work and maintain it. It has to be maintained. And just to finally conclude, looking back, I don't think I put in this investment for weight loss surgery. I put this investment into myself so that I can have another chance at life. The life that I had before was very rewarding and amazing, but this life now is truly me in my greatest and heightened form. That, coupled with the wisdom, you know, the spiritual growth, the mindset changes, all of that equipped into this one woman. No, I'm not perfect, but I am definitely an upgrade. And I do feel that for the long run, it is worth the investment for me. So, you guys, if there's anything else you would like to know, please put in the comment section below. I'm going to keep going with these videos. I feel that they're very relevant. I honestly feel like transforming is something that a lot of people can do and achieve, because that's what it's about, ultimately, transforming into the woman that you are becoming. You'll see me on my next video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Speak soon.